always in the Buddha's sutras, many great masters' teachings always talk about or mention about how the past Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, great masters, how they sort of like put effort, yes, put effort to practice Dharma, put effort to listen Dharma, receive teachings, even just one single line. You know, they put whole their life at risk and effort, yes, in order to receive this precious Dharma. So therefore, it's always we have to keep this in mind. We do not neglect it that, you know, this is so easy to receive Dharma teaching through online. Then sometimes there is a danger that Buddha's teachings or other great master teachings mention that there's a great danger that we may lose our sort of value to Dharma, you know, value to the Dharma. So this is not helpful at all. Yes, therefore we really need to put effort to remember their hardship, their kindness that the Dharma brought to us. Yes, so that's how that, you know, that we have to engage into Dharma practice, Dharma listening, and Dharma teaching, especially today. Yes, so and what I thought is that these sessions that we have been doing through online in past several sort of like sessions, the topic is journey towards enlightenment. Journey towards enlightenment means we are on journey, right? Journey from here to the state of enlightenment. Therefore, journey towards enlightenment. So, and journey towards enlightenment, and now very important for us, yes, that when we engage into Dharma practice, first of all, that we need to use this Dharma listening and contemplations, yes, in a very meaningful way, yes, beneficial way. For that, according to Buddha's teachings, we have to, how do you say, put our thought into altruism. So now, in the beginning, very short meditations that will help all this listening to the Dharma, yes, to the teachings of the Buddhas, and whatever we are doing, following activities become very meaningful and beneficial. So short meditation, please follow with me before we start the actual the Buddha's teachings. Okay. So follow these meditations. Either you sit comfortably, open eyes or close eyes, whatever is easy for you, you can do that. All right. And now we follow these meditations. First, that we all sentient beings have fundamentally sort of like aspirations that we wish to overcome all kind of suffering, problems, sicknesses. All right, make sure that we have this wish, that we wish to overcome all the difficulties in this life or this samsara. Yes, everything bring these as a reason that why we engage into Dharma. or any good, important, or good reasons why we engage into Dharma, right? Any good reasons. Think that why we need to practice Dharma. And now when we think about any kind of good reasons that we bring up, probably Buddha, who is fully awakened and who has overcome all the problems and shortcoming of this samsara or our lives, human lives. So therefore, we connect to the Buddha. Buddha meaning not the physical or historical Buddha of Shakyamuni. Buddha meaning that enlightened qualities, that awakened state. That awakened state or that enlightened qualities. And so make aspirations that we also wish to become Buddha, so that we can benefit self and others. And therefore, since we wish to become Buddha, therefore we need to recognize, we need to understand, we need to know the path towards Buddhahood state. Path towards Buddhahood states. Path towards Buddhahood states, such as now, this time, listening to the Buddha's teachings. Listening to the Buddha's teachings, we will use these to attain the state of enlightenment for the well-being of all sentient beings. That kind of attitude that we generate, that kind of attitude of mind we generate, that kind of attitude of mind we generate. And now, in this way, we have established, or we have made very good use of this time, the following time that we are going to do, or listening to the Dhamma or Buddha's teachings. All right. So now with this, we come to our actual Dharma sharing. So now, today on the journey towards enlightenment, yes, we have we have a sort of like focusing on the how one can perform journey towards enlightenment. All right. Now, with this beautiful altruism, attitude of mind, motivation that we have just meditated on, with these now, without touching or without connecting the conceptual thought, afflicted emotions, then try to connect that we are listening Dharma, we are receiving Dharma just directly from the Buddhas or your own main practice that you have been doing or that you are doing, either is a yidam form or protector form or Vajradhara such as Guru form, whatever form, through him, through her, through that Buddha, through that yidam, through that protectors that we are receiving Dharma, we are talking the Dharma, we are sharing the Dharma. This makes further, this adds more benefits. This makes more sort of like connects towards the pure pure nature of or pure concept, sort of like conceptual sort of like view that we can touch, we can connect. That is now any kind of Buddha's pure land, Buddha's land, So that's why it's very helpful, in a way that when we do such a Dharma, teaching Dharma practice. All right. So with this, now today on Journey Towards Enlightenment, we're going to share that now, until Buddha attained the state of enlightenment, we have theistic and non-theistic school, or theistic and non-theistic practitioners. There are theistic practitioners who, of course, think that God or Allah or someone started from top there, and then gradually all these universe, all these sentient beings, human beings, our sort of like our father, mother, our brother, sister, our sort of countries, our friends, our jobs, everything started from some sort of someone from top till down, sort of like So now non-theistic, until Buddha come, still there isn't any like Buddhist practice, Buddha's teachings. What it says, what I'm trying to tell here is, from ordinary human beings, very ordinary human beings, yes, and then gradually, that according to the Buddhas, gradually that we build up a pattern of a journey, yes, pattern of a journey. So pattern of a journey, an individual from the starting point of an ordinary human state, and here the human existence is like what they're talking human state is the human existence, yes, which possess the enough qualities to engage into Dharma, yes. So basically, the ordinary human states full of afflictions, hatred, anger, jealousy, ignorance, ego, and so on. And then gradually, with there is a way that these afflicted emotions, these afflictions, and these defilements, these sort of like how do you say, the ordinary human state of whatever the faults, whatever the faults, and whatever the mistakes that we are compounded, all are not in a reality. They can be, how do you say, they can be transform, or they are not the reality. Yes. So therefore, then gradually developed, and less sort of afflicted emotions, less sort of like afflictions, less sort of like defilement, less sort of anger, jealousy, and then gradually the opposite, sort of like wisdom. Each of these cause and each of these problems, in order to overcome, one wisdom is important. One sort of like wisdom. Yes. So knowing all kind of like wisdom, yes, sort of discriminating wisdoms, knowing all these kind of these wisdoms, so gradually develop. Now, according to the, like the Sharvakas and Arahat, then their realizations, their attainment, and then Mahayana and Vajrayana, then the 5 paths and 10 levels or 10 stages, then gradually, enters into first path, second path, third path, connects to the first level, the first bhumi or level, or the 10 stages or the 13 stages of the 10 stages of the Bodhisattva, 13 stages of the Vajrayana practitioners, and that way, like we can able to reach the highest sort of like realization that we, at the moment, as an ordinary human state, we take refuge, Buddha. Okay, we are taking refuge. But we can also reach same state that we are taking refuge now. When we practice that way, in the sooner or later, when we develop more fully, once we become or attend or reach that state, we also can become same refuge object that we have been going now. So in short, a pattern of journey from ordinary human state to enlightened state. So Buddha's teachings, yes. So in fact, it's a humanism. It's a humanism. Buddhism is humanism actually. Ordinary human can slowly develop and purify and develop, that way finally become Buddha or attain the state of Buddha. So beautiful, So therefore, non-theistic, after Buddha attained the state of enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, yes, then Buddha became Buddha, yes, then not anymore ordinary beings. Before, according to the common sort of view to all the Buddhist school, Buddha as an ordinary human beings who was born as of course in this world, and then start from that until reach the state of enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. Until then, ordinary human beings, still like us, human. Then gradually develop and attain the state of Buddhahood or enlightened state or state of enlightenment. Then you see, so it's actually a sort of humanism, yeah. It is Buddhism or humanism. It's not religion at all. You see, it's not a sort of like, how to say, totally based on a faith. It's not like that, right? So therefore, Buddhism is not different than humanism somehow. One ordinary human, all of us, we can gradually develop and become Buddha or attain the state of Buddha. Yes, where no any others sort of like religions talk about that way. All the other religions, this somehow start from somewhere, from up, and then from there gradually everything down, coming, yes, down. But here, moving from zero level as an ordinary, very, very ordinary human being, full of defilement, gradually purify the defilement and attain the state of enlightenment. So this is called journey towards enlightenment. Why we sort of like refers or put the sort of like topic of as a journey towards enlightenment is simply, this is So here now, what it shows here is the human existence is really seen as idle physical existence to engage into the Buddhist path, yes, to practice the Dharma, yes, because the Dharma, the practice involve maximum utilization of human intelligence. Therefore, human existence is really seen as idle physical existence here. Otherwise, not necessarily human form, any other forms is possible. But here, to engage into Dharma and practice, it involves the maximum utilization of the wisdom. Out of so many different kind of wisdoms, the human capacity of wisdom or the intelligence is the best and the best for this Dharma practice. Yes, so one in order to become Buddha or attain state of enlightenment. So therefore, human existence is really seen as idle physical, as existence to engage into the Buddhist path. So what we see here as a pattern, sort of like of a spiritual sort of like journey or journey towards enlightenment, is where it's starting from an individual ordinary human state through progressively more awakened state, ultimately culminating in the attainment of full liberations, as well as including full awakening of Buddhahood, right? So that is the thing. So we look at this way that one can also sort of like characteristic like sort of like Buddhism, somehow not different than humanism, or not different than reason, yes, or science, yes, based on science. So that way we can characterize how somehow that way, yes. So this is very unique and totally different from basic pattern of spiritual path, yes, and in the evolution of spiritual journey teaching in the theistic traditions, yes, because theistic tradition, as you know, it's opposite way, yes. So as you know, the fundamental or origin of the spiritual teaching is a form of revelations coming from the transcending beings. From there is a kind of top-down evolutions, where in Buddhist sort of like path or Buddhist teachings, what we have is totally different than this kind of like evolutions. Yes, this kind of way of practice. Yes. So so then now sometimes then when we talk about that, when we think about that, then we can have questions like, oh, then Buddha, Buddha also taught, or Buddha also gave teachings, yes, and path, somehow the Buddha Shakyamuni. Now we can talk about historical Buddha Shakyamuni also, Buddha also taught or gave the teachings, yes, after by sort of like or through enlightened beings, yes, or through the historical Buddhas, not as an ordinary human, being he kept teaching. If we think about that, answer is very answer is that common to understanding in all the Buddhist school, or all the Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, let's say, all, yes, Buddha started from the Tusita heaven, and all this common Buddhism. When we talk about, also include Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, we do not talk about Buddha is something coming from the Tusita heaven or something like that. Okay, just normal as an ordinary human being who was born as a human and then gradually attained the Buddhahood state. Okay, but even when we talk about the Buddha as a special sort of like enlightened beings, who then manifest as Buddha Shakyamuni. Now we talk about historical Buddha. Here also, clearly, sort of like that that the Buddha birth is seen as a manifestation, or even we see as a manifestation of extraordinary being. But here also, the what we talk is four kaya or four bodhis. Yes, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya. Buddha who has these kind of qualities, and then Nirmanakaya form comes out of Dharmakaya in this world to benefit sentient beings. But here also, even we raise such a question, yes, still here also that one needs to recognize that the Buddha deed of coming into this world, attaining the state of Buddhahood, teaching Dharma, benefiting sentient beings, here also very important that we need to recognize, understand is that Buddha attaining enlightenment under Bodhi tree in the Bodh Gaya is also has a special significance here. Significance such as that it is to show, to illustrate that if one wish to become Buddha, same like Buddha, historical Buddha Shakyamuni example, yes, that Buddha, these paths, this sort of way is a journey from a state of ordinary human only, not as a god or not as others beings. So therefore, Buddha also, even if we raise such a question, even if we think such a questions may come or occur, or we ask question ourselves, if we think this kind of question, still clearly sort of like illustrated that journey, sort of like from a state of ordinary human being to fully awakened state of Buddhahood, like Buddha Shakyamuni, who came as a Nirmanakaya form, but still as an ordinary human beings, yes, even though we raise a question like that. So no matter whatever, like how to say, the point here, the point that what we need to emphasize and what we need to understand here is that we human beings have full potential opportunities because this Buddhism or this practice Dharma is humanism. So it's for us, exactly. But now here question is, we talk about, if this is the case, what we want? We aspire happiness, we have strong wish to overcome suffering problems. But now here is that we are making the mistake here on the first level of aspirations. Like aspirations such as we all do have these kind of aspirations, like to become Buddha, or let's say now do not talk about Buddha. Let's say very ordinary sort of aspirations. May I overcome from suffering problems, whatever we have we have gone through, or present moment, whatever, yes, such as sicknesses or job or relation or or fame or whatever, we have aspirations to overcome suffering, aspirations to seek happiness. But now when we already sort of fundamental, we think about, may we free from suffering, we always touch the very surface of the suffering. We never touch the root of the suffering. The problem is here. We are making big mistake here. Therefore, we cannot free from suffering. Therefore, we cannot overcome the suffering. So the aspirations, the wish that we want to free from sufferings, here we always touch the surface of the suffering because we always think the suffering is such as like sort of sense feeling that we can feel, that we can sense. That kind of sufferings we can sort of like we can connect. We are unable to connect the root of these sufferings. Very deep sort of like the nature of the sufferings. So therefore, we are not able to overcome the sufferings. So sufferings that is very obvious and evidence to our senses, to our feeling. Immediately we can feel suffering of cold, suffering of heat, suffering of any sicknesses, yes, suffering of danger of like coronavirus, yes, these kind of things we can touch. These are the surface. These are the very evidence and very sort of like how do you say, the effect, yes. So when we touch only the surface, then although is an aspirations, may we overcome the sufferings, but only aspirations or the prayer, they not only the aspiration and prayer not enough, yes, they cannot help us to overcome these sufferings. They are good support, but they only aspiration and prayer cannot help, yes. So therefore what we need is we need to engage, yes. Engage what? First we have to know we have to recognize. Therefore Buddha clearly sort of like mentioned in the sutras, yes. Suffering of the truth must be recognized. Buddha mentioned in the sutra. So recognize must be recognized here. The recognition here is, what is the recognition? Recognition here is the conditions and the pervasive sufferings, which is the root, which pervasive all different kind of sufferings. That is important here. And not just like very obvious or evident suffering that we can sense only. So these different kind of suffering problems come from where? If we wish, yes, we have aspirations to overcome sufferings, and if we have aspiration to overcome sufferings, then how we can overcome these sufferings? Then we have to know what. Now here is the two primary sort of like causes. Two primary causes are the suffering of origin, the origin divided into the karmic actions, origin of karmic actions, origin of karmic actions, and origin of afflictions. So here also we failed to recognize, and we failed to use them. We failed to recognize and we failed to use them, meaning we failed to overcome them. Overcome them. So now the origin of like the two level of origin of sufferings. The first, the karmic actions, and the second, the afflictions. Which one we need to focus and pay more attention? Usually, we focus and pay more attention to the number one, the karmic origin of karmic actions. We fail to pay more attention to the origin of afflictions. That is also one mistake here we are doing here. So in fact, the Buddha said, out of these two, the affliction, the affliction, the origin of affliction is more important than the origin of karmic actions. Buddha said there. So therefore now according to Buddha's teachings of on wisdom of perfections, Buddha said that the mind is, that mind is. So Buddha talked about the mind. What is the mind? Buddha said, mind, in fact, here Buddha said this, all our happiness, all our sufferings, that whatever we are talking about, these meaning the phenomenon that is the directly sort of like related to the experience of our happiness, experience of our sufferings, or another sort of understanding, experience of pain and pleasure. Yes, pain and pleasure. When we talk about these feelings, we don't talk about the inanimate objects. Yes, here we are referring to the sentient beings who have capacity to feel these experiences. Directly, we are talking about phenomenon that is not material objects. Yes, material objects. So that is the experiential in their nature. We are talking about phenomenon known as mind or consciousness. That is mind or consciousness. So mind or consciousness. So here that is clearly that what Buddha talked in these sutras or the scriptures, sutra or the scriptures, that all our happiness and sufferings come from or based on not inanimate object, but animate, such as sentient beings who have capacity to experience, yes, of or experience of pain and pleasure, yes, pain and pleasure. So therefore, yes, then now the key point being made here is to emphasize the important role of mind in our experiences of pain and pleasure. Yes, as we all naturally aspire for happiness and wish to overcome sufferings. So because of that, role of the mind in that aspiration is very, very, very crucial. And because according to the Buddha's teachings, according to Buddhism, the suffering and the happiness or pain and pleasure understood to be function of untamed and disciplined, untamed and undisciplined mind, and happiness and joy is understood to be function of tamed and disciplined mind. This is now very important, untamed and tamed, undisciplined and disciplined. That now, so sort of the function of these suffering and happiness or pain and pleasure, so happiness and joy is understood to be a function of tame and disciplined mind, and suffering and pain is a function of undisciplined and untamed mind. So once we know this, we already know the very important law of causality, causes and effect. This is now very important view of Buddhism or Buddha's teachings. One very, very important is. So now here, the role of the mind in that. So now the role of mind is clearly mentioned or emphasized how important it is. Yes, how important it is. And then here we talked about earlier the origin of sufferings based on the karmic actions, or number one, the origin of karmic actions, and number two, the origin of afflictions, right? So now the actions, karmic actions, when we do something, kind of like, how do you say, kind of like serious actions. If we do not have serious action, if we do not have serious intention or motivation or plan, serious action really doesn't have any value, or it becomes powerless. To have serious consequences or result, we need a serious plan and the intention behind or motivation behind these actions. So even though the origin is karma or the actions, but that can that only cannot determine our suffering that much. That must be, how to say, pushed by intention. Intention, meaning here is now the mind or the consciousness. Yes. So now out of these two, the origin of the suffering, that we've always failed to touch and failed to recognize and failed to overcome them, yes, is because the out of these two, we always pay attention to the more about pay attention more on the action itself, yes, not on the afflictions. So action is pushed by the motivations and intentions according to the positive intention or motivations, which the result, the positive result or pleasure or happiness, and then the negative actions or negative sort of intention or negative sort of like aspirations, yes, result the pain and sufferings, So behind of this now, since it shows that mind is so important here, playing a big role. So behind there, it shows that out of these two, afflictions are more sort of like important in order to overcome the sufferings. We have to pay more attention and to focus to the origin of the afflictions. Yes, so that, and then now that's why the role mind is our fundamental sort of experience of happiness and sufferings. Yes, yes. So therefore, now that kind of mind now, according to the Buddha's teaching or in the Buddha's sutra or scriptures, Buddha said everything, whatever pain and pleasure that we are experiencing, based on this consciousness of mind, not in inanimate object. Yes. So now, if this is the case, then second statements from these scriptures. Then, what is the nature of the mind now? Nature of the mind. Do they exist? Does it exist? Yes, in a form of color or any sort of like form or shape or whatever. Then the statement is, mind is devoid of mind. Yes, devoid of mind. So devoid of mind here, our now understanding of mind itself is our naive perceptions. Our naive perceptions, we tend to feel as it sort of like it. If there is sort of something called mind, there is something called I. There is something called sort of like I am. And there's something called like this kind of feeling, this kind of sensation, this kind of grasping that we have. Yes. So sort of like concrete, sort of like solid, yes, and real. But in fact, the Buddha teaches us, or Buddha taught us, that is that naive assumption of something is there real or solid is false or distorted sort of understanding. According to Buddha's teaching, according to Buddha, this is distorted understanding. Yes. So therefore, now the truth of this mind, the mind, what we feel, what we sense, in fact, is a distorted sort of understanding, as false understanding. It doesn't. In fact, it is just sort of like, how to say, a naive assumption or something that is real, what we feel, what we sense as a concrete. It's distorted understanding, sort of like false understanding. And if this is the case, then what is now the mind? Now, what is this I grasping? What is this? The nature of this I grasping is. Then now it touches our Vajrayana practice of the clear light. Clear light. Yes. The Madhyamika school also talk about the true truth. Yes, ultimate truth. Yes, this mind is the ultimate nature or ultimate truth. Now here is talk. So here what Buddha's teachings teaches us is that nature of mind is where it is reality only to be understood in terms of dependent relations. Yes, dependent relations. So dependent relations, dependent relation of two things: causes and conditions. Dependent relation of causes and conditions. Yes, beyond that sort of like dependent relation, one cannot find mind that is separate from this relationship. Yes, so this is now the true. This is now the true color of mind. You know, this is now the naked nature of mind. So so that means the mind in the Buddhist scripture, in the Buddhist sutras, well, this is now the nature of mind, which is now clear light. Yes, clear light. So this means that it is essential nature. Mind is pure, clear light, pure. Our mind is yes, at this moment, as an ordinary sentient being like us. Yes, our mind is diluted. Yes, but this dilution and pollutant of the mind are just temporary or advantageous. Okay, just temporary or advantageous, and pollutant of mind, contamination, really result of conceptual sort of like thought process. Yes, processes that has tendency to obscure or obscure and taint our essential nature of mind, like that. So which means here that the essential nature of mind is luminosity, and this may experience in that level of our mind is clear, you know, clear, sort of like clear as example, like, you know, example like the light or the sun, you know, sun which is free from the cloud. Yes, sun which is free from the cloud, you know, that kind of nature of mind. So our nature of mind, in fact, you know, in essential nature of mind is like, is free from the delusions, pollutions. Yes, but of course it is diluted, it is polluted at this ordinary human state. Yes, but it's possible, since this is not the nature of the mind, it's possible to oppose something, some kind of opposite sort of like factors. The wisdoms can then, how to say, deal with these obscurations or these delusions or these pollutions. Yes, then that can be free. These delusions, these pollutions can be free from the nature of the mind. You know, so that way, and so therefore, now to today I will try to give some time for questions also, because earlier time we were doing through YouTube, so which is not possible to ask questions. But today maybe through this Zoom, I think the question answer is also possible, right? So that way, okay. So now to summarize, okay, to summarize that what we can understand from these Buddhist teachings is these Buddhist teachings in the script, the statement of the scriptures or sutras, that the Buddha said the everything, all our suffering, all our pain and pleasure, everything based on mind, which means something animate object or animate or sentient beings who have capacity to feel pain and pleasure, not inanimate object, right? And so which means the importance of the role of mind is being sort of emphasized here, right? And then the key role of mind is determining how tame and untamed mind leads to suffering and happiness. Yes, this is very important. This means the causes and effect or relation is being presented here in with these Buddhist teachings. Yes, the first things to summarize what we have going through is, first thing is all the suffering, everything what we are doing is based on mind, animate object, sentient beings who has capacity to feel, yes, experience pain and pleasure. Second thing, that the key role of mind is determining how untamed and tamed mind leads to the pain and pleasure. Yes, so tamed mind leads to pleasure or happiness. Untamed mind leads to suffering and pain. So this is the second, which here the cause and effect or relation is being presented. Yes, and then after, therefore, the relation to this, the first part and the part of the what Buddha talk is the mind, about the mind. Yes, and then here now all the relation of the problems that we are going through as an sentient beings, and the origin of that, or the action, the karmic actions, origin of karmic actions, and origin of karmic action, and origin of the afflictions. So we always, what Buddha is trying to tell us, Buddha teaches us here, is that if we wish to overcome suffering problems, we shouldn't only see or touch only the surface level. We must overcome from the root level. So to overcome or to uproot these problems, then we need to know the two primary causes, the origin of these problems. Yes, the actions and the afflictions. All right. So yes. Then now here also to summarize, we also summarize that Buddha teaching show or teaches us that we as an ordinary human beings, otherwise we sometimes think, oh, we have no sort of like, how to say, capacity to become Buddha, or we think, oh, Buddha is very far, to become Buddha is very far, you know. So sometimes we may think that way. So which is indeed is not the fact, you know. The reality, indeed, we also, as an ordinary human beings, we also can become Buddhas. One point today here we summarize, yes, as a Buddhism, as a humanism, yes. So ordinary state of beings can attain the state of fully awakened state. Then now pointing towards the second thing, that the absence of that imputed nature of the nature on the basis which the mind is, the emptiness nature. What is the point? What is point to the mind which we assume to possess this mind exists, or real sort of like existing, or it exists in reality, or exists, is actually devoid of such substantial reality. Yes, so devoid of such substantial reality, and that absence of that substantial reality of mind is true nature. That is the true nature here. Yes, that is the true nature. And the pointing towards the Buddha nature. Now the Buddha nature and our nature differences is Buddha nature and our nature. Buddha nature, essence of Buddhahood, is seed of Buddhahood. Yes, that sort of like mind nature, Buddha nature, a seed of Buddha. Here we can reverse both emptiness, one emptiness of mind, which is ultimate nature. Yes, which is the ultimate nature according to the what we talk about the Mahayana, where we have these the relative truth and ultimate truth. Yes, and also this Buddha nature, also here this mind Buddha nature refers to the clear light nature of mind, which is subjective quality of our mind. It is in the respect to the what Buddha stated in the sutra or scriptures. Yes, that statement. So in that way, we can sort of like understand according to our practice. Yes, different kind of practices. Whatever we are doing Buddhist practices, yes, and according to our capacity, according to the practice, we have to, yes, we have to then engage. We have to then practice, and then that level shows that first the basis of the mind, which is the true nature, yes, and the second, to negate the real existence of how we feel, that is not the reality. Third, that reality is or could be in two different ways. Yes, as a Buddha nature, seed of Buddha, Buddha nature and clear light, the mind nature, ultimate nature. Yes. So now, so in that way, I think for today talk, I will stop here. So now I will invite for question answer. So we can start now the question answer. Yes.
I have a question. A question about suffering. Suffering comes from our karma and universal karma. How much universal karma is very difficult for human beings to happen. How much work
It's not clear.
Not clear.
Not clear.
Okay.
Yes.
I am far away. Maybe my connection is not good.
Yes. Can you try again, please?
Yes. My question is the root for our suffering is our karma, personal karma. Then there's also universal karma. Like
okay.
talk about the corona as a universal karma, which is very, very difficult for single human being to influence. How much attention should we put into the universal karma? Just pray.
Okay, I think I understood your questions. The root of our problems and suffering is not only the karma. There are two primary causes. That's why I'm saying we always make mistake. Karma. Yes. Karma, yes, but karma and afflictions. There are two primary causes here. Karma and afflictions. Okay. Karmic actions, behind that karmic actions, we have motivations, we have intentions. Whatever we do, some karma means we do some actions, right? Actions. We do actions under the influence of positive or negative. If we do negative actions under the influence of negative intentions or negative motivations, that leads to problems, sufferings. Under the influence of the positive intention, positive motivations, we do some actions that leads to pleasure or happiness. But still here, happiness doesn't mean permanent happiness, ultimate happiness. Yes. And ultimate, because we have still attachment to I am doing the karma. I am helping him. I'm helping her. I'm helping them. This is the object that I'm giving. This is object that I'm sharing. Okay, all kind of fixation, all kind of fixation, all kind of fixation, all kind of grasping. That's why that karma, under the influence of these motivations, these intentions, then now more important here is suffering problem caused by afflictions. Origin of afflictions. Now this is very important here. Origin of afflictions. All right, this is very important. So that's why the problems everything turns out, you know. All right. Next. Anybody?
Here, Rinpoche.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Alex here.
Yes.
It's very important what you've been talking about, because
Yeah.
regarding my experience, I would like to then make the question. It's like, in my case, I understand karma. You know, I really, when the things are happening, you know, I understand many times the causes. Probably I plant the seed for this, you know, I understand the dependent origination of the situation, you know, where it's coming from, or I have an idea. So this is okay for me, you know, I say, okay, this is happening because of this, and it's okay, I will not do it again, and I understand. But there is also this affliction, there is also this pain that in my case is emergent, in a sense, is in a body feeling, you know, that I try to observe it, you know, and I go into that, this attachment, you know, that probably is one of these afflicted emotions, the attachment, you know. I really want to know in which way can I overcome, you know, can I not, I'm trying to go in deep into this, you know, I'm trying to go to accept the situation, just an offering. Many times I offer, you know, I make an offering what is happening, you know, when I'm attached to. And I'm losing in the future, I can stand and in this situation, in front of this situation, in a better position, you know, just to see what is happening, you know, just understanding the situation and just be like, okay, it's not say that it's nice, because many times the sense of losing is not nice. If you lose your mother, you know, someone that you really love, you know, because he has died, or just going with someone else, probably I know the karmic source, but there is something here, you know, how we can overcome this sense of losing.
So you see, the first things there, Buddha said, devoid of mind. This notion of I, this is the false conceptions. This is the false conception. We make mistake here. We make mistake here that reality, this is not existing as we tend to feel, as we tend to, sense. Like something is concrete, something is there, something is there, something is here, you know. Where all these problems comes from, start from. So here, in fact, Buddha said, very important here is direct antidote here is meditation on no self. Meditation on no self. Anatma. Anatma means selfless. That meditations will bring you the wisdoms which go against these. This is now the direct antidote. For that, you need other support of others' meditations, others' Rinpoche, others' Bodhisattvas, all these kind of, you know, like the practices which can help you so much to have, of course, now Buddha talk here that the three basket. Here you need very good discipline, and then very good concentrations. very good concentrations, then very good wisdoms. Importance of discipline, importance of concentrations, importance of wisdoms. Where Buddha talked so much, all the Buddha's teaching falls into these three baskets. Yes, so these are very important for your case, of course. So that way one can overcome. All right, and especially out of these three, after you see now here is the problem is here. I remember that now the Shantideva in Bodhisattvas Avatara talked about when we have war against our enemy. Okay, two soldiers, two countries have war, and then one when they have war, they want to win over another party. They never have sort of intention. I want to lose and then fight. I want to win. And similarly, when we have war against these troublemaker, such as the notion of self, this ego, this I clinging, we need same sort of like willpower, like small matters affect us, affect our Dharma practice. Then we can never win over this war against, let's say, war against coronavirus. Okay, war against coronavirus. You see, for that, what we need, example like that, whatever we need to win over the coronavirus or win over the other party, yes, when we are having war. Similarly, our war, the true enemy, if we tame this enemy, coronavirus and everything is tamed automatically. So therefore, all these problems comes from this self, notion of self. Therefore, the wisdoms we need to apply opposite. Because if this is the reality, if this is the fact, we can never overcome. We can never overcome from this suffering or these problems. Since in reality, in reality, is different than what we assume, what we sense, what we tend to feel. You know, so therefore, it's possible. It's very possible that antidote or opposed sort of like wisdoms can destroy, can free, can overcome these sufferings, these problems. So this is the very important line in Bodhisattvas Avatara Shantideva quoted, and we, you see now usually when we do Dharma practice, some problem comes, we immediately sort of like give up. Oh, now this problem I cannot do Dharma practice, or this problem, that problem I cannot do Dharma practice. Immediately we sort of like we surrender, you know. But in fact, then Shantideva following stage, Shantideva said, yes, when we have war against whatever, coronavirus or anything, or you know, we have to understand, we have to fully prepared for the challenges, for the obstacles. When two countries fight, when two countries have war, they know already what kind of challenges, what kind of obstacle may come, and they already prepare a little bit. And according to the obstacle come, they try to solve, and they try to, you know, sort of like, how do you say, prepare. Similarly, when we have war against this enemy of this eye-clinging, grasping, these afflictions, you know, all different kind of obstacles may come, like exactly what you have been going through. These are truly obstacles, and then we need to win over the obstacle. Obstacles shouldn't win over us, like the war. So this is very important here. Yes, as a Dharma practitioners, this is so important, that how we can overcome As in this very, very beautiful quoted by Shantideva in Bodhisattva. So when we have this war against these, how to say, the defilement or these afflictions, yes, all kind of obstacles may come, but you know, we need to be, how do you say, prepared, and we shouldn't surrender immediately. Small obstacle comes with, then we surrender. Not like that. So this is the way. Yes, we have to practice. Okay. Now, next.
Here is a question from someone, Evgenia,
Yes.
and asking that what is discipline? Is it ethics toward other people?
Discipline.
What is discipline?
Discipline means, discipline refers here many different kind of discipline. According to, let's say, if we have Buddhist refuge vows, according to that, there are discipline, such as since we take refuge to Buddha, yes, we do not harm other beings. Yes, we do not have wrong view, or we do not have sort of like, how should you say, intention to then go or take another path, another teacher that is different than Buddha's Buddhist teaching or Buddha's Buddha. Yes. And then by taking refuge to Buddha Dharma Sangha, the discipline is that we cannot rely, and we cannot have influence by the non-Dharma practitioners get influence or damage our Dharma practice. Such as, like, example like that. Then similarly, if we have 8 precept vows, 5 precept vows, then self-liberations, discipline on self-liberations, discipline on Bodhisattva practice, discipline on Vajrayana practice, and this is now we're talking about practice. And discipline on when we get, there is conditions, there is cause and conditions which are supposed to lead you to suffering on problems, but we have discipline. So we do not follow these cause and conditions, and then they cannot lead us to suffering, such as discipline. So many different kind of discipline. Yes, according to our, now let's say discipline, now another discipline is such as living in these pandemic, this sort of time. What is discipline? Discipline is in every government, sort of like country, they issue sort of like rules and regulations. Social distancing, or when you go shopping, you can do this way. You cannot do this in this way. Example, these all are in order to help, in order to reduce problems, sufferings. Similarly, Dharma also, Buddhist teachings also talk about the discipline, because without discipline, yes, our concentrations, our meditations or concentrations cannot be very good, cannot build up, and cannot have good result of concentration and meditations. Therefore, Buddha talked about this discipline. Yes, now discipline of lay practitioner, discipline of monk practitioner, different kind of forest practitioners have different kind of discipline also. Yes. All right. Now we can have one more questions.
Hi, I would like to talk. I have a question about compassion in Buddhism.
Yes.
When we talk about compassion in Buddhism, we talk about having compassion for oneself and compassion for others. So at other times, I heard that we have to let go of clinging to the self. So I just want to know, like, in our practice to having compassion for all beings, does it mean that we are unable to do things for ourselves, that we are unable to watch a movie to relax after a long day, or to
Okay, compassion. It doesn't mean that we cannot do, we cannot do, as you said, that we cannot watch movie after the long day or tiring day, whatever. But now here the compassion is, we start from the first, how we have compassion to whom we love the most in our life. Example, it could be anybody, it could be any beings, it could be, to whom we love so much more than our own life. Such a genuine compassion. Okay, compassion. Now the definition of compassion here, the meaning refers to, basically, you have intention to overcome his or her problems, sufferings, sicknesses, whatever. That is now the definition of compassion here. You get? Yes, you follow? The compassion, the real meaning of compassion is that we have strong sort of like intention, motivation to overcome, to free his or her, especially now to whom we have so much love, such as our mother or father, brother, sister, friends, whoever. We can say one or two, to whom we love so much, and at the same time, if he or she is suffering from cancer, he or she is dying, then we have sort of compassion. Yes, naturally we have compassion, such as, oh, may my he or she, whoever, yes, mother or father or brother or sister, or my wife or husband or son or daughter or whoever, may he or she may free from these sicknesses or these problems. This is now the compassion. Now this compassion can, now slowly we can extend more and more, 1 being, 10 beings, 20, 100, 1,000, millions, then countless sentient beings. Yes. So now here, compassion, reality, the true compassion can be there, can be present with the emptiness, without understanding of, without not only understanding, without realization of emptiness. The true compassion, such as, true compassion cannot be generated, because compassion and emptiness, they are in fact like same nature. So without emptiness, if we have compassion, what we just talked about, may my mother is free from suffering, sickness, may my father is free from suffering, sickness, may my brother, my uncle, my aunt, my whoever having this and that problem, he or she free from this problem, that problem. This is compassion, yes. But this compassion is not touched with the emptiness, then this compassion cannot help us to, help us to lead the enlightenment purpose. This can help us for this life, for temporary things, but not for enlightenment purpose. But when we talk about compassion for countless sentient beings, yes, compassion for countless sentient beings, there we need emptiness realizations. Then countless sentient beings, to generate compassion to countless sentient beings possible. Without emptiness test, emptiness realizations, to generate compassions to countless sentient beings is impossible. Not only countless sentient beings, even to 5 people, even to our family members is also not possible, almost sometimes, So 1 or 2 person is possible, 10 person maybe, or family maybe. But when we have realization of emptiness, then the compassion, we can generate compassion to countless sentient beings. And that not only just 1 minute, just 1 hour, 1 day, until the samsara is emptied, until then we can generate compassion. So like that, you see. Yes, so compassion, different levels, yes, conventional levels, yes, and relative level, ultimate level of compassions, like that. Okay.
Yeah. So can I just ask one more?
Okay, last one more.
Yeah, sorry. So like, even when I have that, let's say I have that compassion, right? Does it mean that I neglect myself? I neglect my needs for others? Like, do I not have compassion for myself anymore because
Yeah. You can have compassion to yourself, yes. But the real, but here the compassion is what we have compassion is what we call is attachment. Yes, attachment, attached to self. You know, attached to self. This is kind of compassion to self. But here the compassion is the causes of happiness. Our causes of happiness depends on others' beings. Therefore, compassion, we generate compassion, these qualities can help us, reduce problems and suffering and increase happiness and obtain happiness. Therefore, here the compassion is more regards into benefiting or concern about more others is because our happiness and suffering best or depends on others. Of course, we can have compassion for self. Like oh, I'm having for example headache, or may I free from the headache. This is kind of compassion, based on the, of course, self attachment or clinging or whatever. Yes. All right. Okay, so now for these sessions we will stop here. I wish you all healthy, and we dedicate today we talked very important Buddha's teachings, so this is also a part of journey towards enlightenment. We have this, what we just shared today, Buddha's teaching. This can be also helpful for journey towards enlightenment. Therefore, journey towards enlightenment. So may we dedicate by sharing and talking about the precious Buddha, Buddha's teachings. May we all able to attain the state of enlightenment for the well-being of all sentient beings. Okay.